Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. You need a group in times of trouble, even in times of no trouble. But it doesn't have to be a big group. It has to be the right group. That's what I want to talk about tonight. After I welcome all of the new subscribers, we've got a bunch both here on YouTube and over on Patreon. It's great to have you all. Just a couple of things. Be nice to other people. I don't allow cutting people down or calling people names, and I also don't have a very forgiving nature about that. I cut somebody off pretty much the first time they act wrong because I want everyone here to feel comfortable coming here and leaving their comments and contributing. This is a place that people should come and feel comfortable and enjoy coming here and look forward to coming here and look forward to leaving their comments. So I police those comments pretty tightly, and if you're new here, you can be assured that you're going to be in a friendly place, and nobody's going to be taking shots at you or trolling you without getting dumped. And I know you won't do it either. The second thing. What was the second thing? Oh yeah, I always put the links to my Patreon channel down here below and my books. For the Patreon channel, what's that? Well, it's everything that I put on YouTube, plus other things that I don't put on YouTube that I my own videos. Other people's videos that I think are particularly good. Some friends of mine who have channels, I'll stick them up occasionally. Some news items, some music, some all sorts of things that I think are applicable and to what's going on in the world. And sometimes I explain it, and sometimes I don't, and kind of leave it to the super intelligent people over there to understand what's going on. I do say that I have probably the smartest commenters on YouTube land in YouTube land. That's my opinion. Okay, not cracking on anybody else's. And if you want even more in-depth, go over to Patreon. As far as my books, if you're new to me, also, if you really are interested in preparedness and survival from A to Z, on preparing for, surviving, groups, how to build groups, how to rebuild societies, things like that. That's what my books are about. And so if you're interested in those, the links are down there too. Okay, enough of the housekeeping. Groups. We know that tough times are coming. It just keeps coming at us faster and faster. I don't get into a lot of the particulars here. I don't come on with the latest thing that hit the news and the latest challenges and problems that are coming down the road. Occasionally I have financial situations or in response to questions, but I think everybody pretty much knows what's going on. If you don't keep tight track of the news yourself, there are a lot of other channels out there that I think do a real good job covering the news of the day, and they have excellent commentary on it. So you don't need me just doing one more thing to see how I compare to somebody else. But what I do try to direct my efforts towards is those issues that are going to help us get through the tough times ahead. A lot of people talk about groups. I talk about groups, and people have different ways of coming at groups. You are going to need a real good, tight group coming up because of all those particular challenges that we see in our near future here, and they're coming at us from every direction. The more friends you have, the more people you can rely on, the more people you can trust, the better off you're going to be. That's really no secret. It was one of the lessons of The Godfather that I put over on Patreon, and I think everybody pretty much understands that. There are different ideas about how to build groups. Some people, do it from an intentional standpoint, try to bring a group of people together with a common interest in survival or preparedness. I don't really do it that way. It's my opinion that a little more organic kind of group works better in the long term. That's because as you develop friendships and relationships, whether they're family or friends, you get people that you've known a long time that share, common interests, not every interest perhaps, but common values and principles and things like that. And when you're looking to trust your life with people, you want people that you have been able to see in action, as it were. Okay, the guys that were in the military have that understanding. The people that they've seen in action, they can trust more than the guys that they hadn't. And police work, the guys we worked with and saw on the streets, we have a much better idea, and we trust them a lot more than just some guy that we saw in the office. Well, it's the same thing with life. When you kind of try to put together a group by saying who's interested in preparedness and who's interested in survival, you're going to get people with all different kinds, a vast array of core principles and belief systems. Maybe some people have been able to do that successfully. I haven't seen many, if any, do that successfully. They usually fall apart in the first couple of years because of any number of reasons. They find out they have differences, deep differences that had nothing to do with survival or preparedness. There's egos involved. There are all sorts of psychological aspects that when you get mixed up, into the big bowl, cause problems. And so that's just been my experience. I prefer to simply develop friendships and relationships, and then kind of those people are there when you need them. Now, the reason that I'm talking about this tonight, because I have talked about groups on a couple of occasions before, then, is because we have a lot of things coming our way that are going to help us trim our groups. And we watched McClintock, the John Wayne movie, the other day, and he used the word cull in it. And the kids asked me, "What does cull mean?" And so I explained to them about culling the herd, and then that's kind of what actually made me think about this. That it's important to cull the herd. It's important to trim your group. Groups in good times. Groups can go fairly large. Nobody has any major problems. Everybody comes, to the events and whatever. But you need things to reveal character. You need things to reveal what people are really about. And the things that reveal people are stressors. Okay. If you work with somebody, if you live with somebody, if whatever it is, when you're in close working relationships with people, the more experiences you have with them, the more you're able to really get a sense of what they're about, and vice versa. But until it comes to where there's a real stressor, you can't be sure what that person is. Now, we've got a lot of stressors coming our way, and I think it's going to put everybody in a real good situation to take a close look at the people who they consider to be in their group. Excuse me. And I don't have a beer tonight because I had chocolate chip cookies. And take a look at the people who they have considered to be in that large circle of theirs, and see whether or not they're a good fit and a good pick. Because the wrong person, like I started off saying, you don't necessarily need a big group. You need the right group. You don't need a lot of people. You need the right people. Now, you need people because a group of people, number of people, however many, can get a lot more done than one person or two people or whatever. The more good people you have in a group, the more they can get done. But you throw a couple of bad apples in there, and they are going to destroy much more than they will ever add to your group and the efforts of that group, and that means the safety and security of the group. Now, of course, this main circle that we all start with is family. Now, as I've said before, there's families and there's families, right? I know families that are just great, but some families are just a mess. And most families fall somewhere in between with you got some good ones and you got some crazies. And, who doesn't have a few of those, right? Raise your hand. I don't see any hands raising up there. It's not all the Cartwrights on the Ponderosa. Uh, but that's where you start first, and then you go out to your friends. Watch very closely and start trimming down from your trusted group until you have a better idea and understanding of what your real core group consists of. Okay, if you have people, argumentative people, nobody likes to be around arguers. Now, and that's not an arguer is not someone who discusses things. Okay, good discussion is important. People sharing their ideas, their opinions, if they can back them up, if they have the experience to back them up, that's vitally important. You need different points of view. Okay, now we're getting into a little bit of leadership here, and I think I'm going to let that go because that's such a large subject in itself. But you need people who are willing to contribute ideas, just like contributing ideas here in the comments. But you cannot allow arguers. The arguer is the person who just comes in, they're just obstinate, they're hard-headed, they can't back up their positions other than it's just their opinion. Okay, they will rip a group apart. Complainers is another. I know in a business that I had many years ago, there was this young lady that worked for me, and she did her job very well. But I swear, every day she came to work, it was just the latest drama in her little life. And it got to the point to where when everybody else saw her getting out of her car and coming in the door, they would say, "I wonder what's wrong today." Nobody likes those people. They are sand in the machinery, and they are not worth the trouble of dealing with them. They're always going to bring more problems than they're worth. The unstable person. The unstable person that you just never know. They got ups and downs and backwards and sideways. You never know. One day they're the nicest person in the world, or maybe most of the time they're just the nicest person in the world. And then on those occasions, man, they just go nuts, right? We've all known people like that. You cannot have instability in a group. It's a group killer. And in a bad situation, in an SHTF, or even in a less than that serious situation, they are a danger. They're a danger to life and safety and everything else. Not only will they not do their job, but depending on how strange they are, they can actually prove a danger from within. People who abuse drugs and alcohol. That is a no-no. If you've got one of those in your group, and you can say, well, what's abuse? Well, if it affects their lifestyle, if it adversely affects how they do their job, how they relate with other people, how they sustain themselves, it is a problem, and you can't allow them in the group. And if they're in your group, you got to cut them. Okay, you got to call the herd. If you have a person who is just so opinionated that they can't be reasoned with, that's pretty much, that's a lot back to the arguer. You have to get rid of them. They are not worth it. If you have somebody who's lazy, you can't allow them to stay. Okay. I know I could go on and on about these, but the problem people that you see in your life, they may cause minor irritations now, but when things get real, the dangers get real. The problems that they're going to bring to your group, your family, get real. Now, whether it's family, whether it's friends, I've always said that good friends beat bad family. A lot of people, Say, well, they're my family. I'm gonna take them in. Okay, that's your choice, certainly. And we all want to stand by our family. Now, to be honest, there's a lot of people out there that have family members. You just can't, they've been destructive to them all their lives. Why would you want them to continue to be destructive to you in a bad situation to where it could threaten? I see some funny little lights up there. I think maybe somebody's shining some light from the balcony. Oh, somebody's coming down the steps. Didn't realize I'd left the front door open. Yeah, I know you can peek into my front hallway there. OPSEC. Don't sweat the OPSEC. Maybe I'll do that one on a different one. You can't allow these people to be a danger, and they don't care. Okay, they really don't care. So if you feel that you have to take people in because they're related, and I get that. And I'll tell you right now, if it's a real bad situation and I let people come in to my group and they cause the slightest bit of trouble, they're gone. I cut people fast. I cut people fast in this life. It doesn't take me much to cut somebody, simply because I know that what seems to be an irritation now is it signals a deeper problem. If it signals that they're self-absorbed, they're not, they don't think about other people, they're not a team player, it's all about them. When I see that kind of behavior, I know that it's simply going to be exacerbated the worse things become. So these are the things to look out for. And, like there's always a silver lining, that's the positive part of me. We're going to have things coming up here, I think, in the near future that are going to provide stressors that are going to help us recognize. It's going to help illuminate some of these problems in these problem people. Okay, if things get really bad, which is not certainly what we hope for, but it's what we're preparing for, you need to know those things. Those things need to come out before things go down. So, like with everything, use problems as opportunities. Use them as opportunities to see where your weaknesses are, where you need to shore up certain things, where you need to, whatever you need to do, and you're going to be better off for it when things get bad. So that's about it. As things get more interesting, tighten up your group, call your herd, trim your group, and you're going to be better off for it when things do get real. Just to add on the end here, I'll probably make more about this coming week, but everybody knows about the possible shortages coming. That's nothing new. We know it's been coming. A lot of things are going up in price. I see the same shortages in the grocery stores that I've seen other people report on their channels. And I think I'll save the other financial stuff for another one, but we're coming for some really interesting times. And like I've said on a couple others before this, whatever you're doing to prepare now, just up it about 10 times, and I think you'll be glad you did. So remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And there is no more important preparation than the people that you have around you that you are going to depend on and trust. So a good hard look at it now can save you a good some big problems in the future. Okay, so you all have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.